I wasn't planning on making another one of these videos so soon after the last one, but recently I got my first challenger. Well, not like my first actual challenger, because Bruce has already been going around taking out all the other big hybrids. But I meant like, I got my first actual challenger, like somebody actively wants to fight Bruce, which was kind of the goal for the series, because I never specified that I wouldn't be allowing others to challenge me. Of course I'd be allowing others to challenge me. You know, beat more hybrids, get more wins, more likely to get first crack at Vex when she inevitably comes back. So, who is this challenger? Well, it's someone called Utah Raptorzilla, and it got my attention for all the wrong reasons. This is Bruce. Yeah, I know. The title of the video is gonna not make any sense to some people, don't think too hard about it. Both of these hybrids have the same name, which just goes to show that there really aren't that many names you can give a hybrid shark. Now, this actually isn't blatant copying. The creator specified that they didn't know about my shark hybrid that predates this Bruce. So there's no real beef here, but it kind of just felt wrong if we didn't put our two Bruces in the same ring together, see who comes out on top. So, as you might expect, both of these hybrids share a lot of similar traits. Both use bull shark and tiger shark for the same purposes, that being things like the teeth, the immune system, and specialized traits that allow them to go into freshwater. They also both use great white shark, except mine only uses it for the senses and regional endothermy. This hybrid uses great white shark as the base, whereas I used Auriculatus for the base and to give this creature size. Meanwhile, this hybrid's size is boosted by Cretoxyrhina, a shark from the Cretaceous. Also, to clear up confusion, I will be referring to this shark as Bruce and my Bruce as the Sharkopath, because it'll be more or less the same battle. It's a straight 1v1, so I can prove to doubters that Bruce can fight his own battles. Now, our hybrids are very similar, they're both shark hybrids, but they do show enough differences to where it wasn't blatant copying. So we're going to do this a bit differently, and instead go through each of the differences one by one and basically debunk them. Starting with the use of short fin mako for Bruce, instead for the Sharkopath that uses sailfish. It was used for the same purpose, to increase the speed and agility, but the mako shark in this case was underutilized, per se. It was mentioned that the mako shark was only added for its unique fins, which allow it to get faster, as well as for slimming down the build. Now, it definitely does do that, but something that made my hybrid a bit much faster is the addition of extra muscles throughout the body, which allows the sailfish to become the fastest fish in the seas. As for the mako shark, it has more than just a slim build and fins to make it fast. The two main reasons that weren't included in Bruce. The first one being is that mako sharks actually deviate from pretty much all of the sharks and fish for that matter, as they're actually warm-blooded instead of cold-blooded, which allows them to regen their stamina better. Another thing is that mako sharks are able to get fast because of their size, which is smaller than a lot of other sharks. In terms for the size of Bruce, he's more or less the same size as the Sharkopath, but heavier, coming in at around 3 to 4 tons. To put it in perspective, my hybrid is barely able to make 50 miles an hour, and it comes in at around half the weight of Bruce, which somehow able to go up to speeds of 60 miles an hour, which just wouldn't be possible in a much heavier creature. Its speed would be vastly below that of Bruce, since not only is this Bruce heavier, he also lacks the certain traits that make the short fin mako very fast. So my hybrid takes the first point when it comes to speed and agility. The next similarity for this was using manta ray instead of bottlenose dolphin for intelligence. Now, I'm not an expert on manta rays. They may very well be smart creatures, but nothing in the ocean can really compare to the bottlenose dolphin being the smartest creature in the oceans, even smarter than orcas. In addition to that, the dolphin's slim build also works much better in congruity with that of the other sharks in the genome. Sure, while manta ray might be more cartilaginous fish, their build could definitely would work less in favour for intelligence. So that means Sharkopath gets another point. Limpets were used to reinforce the teeth with gophite. Now this works, but because my contributor used bumphead parrotfish to reinforce the teeth with fluoropatite. I'm not sure of exactly the strength comparison of the two, both are stronger than iron, but the bumphead parrotfish provides additional traits in providing my hybrid a much better ability to ram its opponents, similar way to how many sharks ram their prey, making the ram much deadlier on this one. But in Bruce, its ability to ram is much more hindered by his sensory organs, so if he tries to ram, he'd most likely end up seriously damaging himself, whereas the Sharkopath is built for such a ram attack. So that means Bruce gets yet another point. And that's not to say... my Bruce, not this Bruce. The last major thing that was in for the Sharkopaths was the decision of a spiny dogfish and stonefish combo for various spines running along the back to deliver poison. The best trait I can compare this to is me using Greenland shark, but Greenland shark works better in this for multiple reasons. First one, of course, being it's only one creature, so more congruity. The second being is that its poison is directly linked into its meat, so my sharks don't have to actually... well, what's the word? It's similar to the original Dracocetus, they don't have to basically make the poison, which would end up leading to a much higher metabolic rate. But even if the Greenland shark didn't have poisonous flesh and had to make the poison, then it can slow down its metabolism, which would just benefit it even more. Now, the other thing is that, of course, large poisonous spines on this creature is definitely going to create some large amount of drag. But probably the biggest issue with them is exactly where they're placed. As you can see from the drawing, the spines were placed along in between the back fins, with one larger spike in front of the main fin, similar to spiny dogfish. Now, these spikes aren't exactly in a very good position to actually attack anything, especially since stonefish use their spines for defense. It's not actually for attacking. The only way that these spikes will actually come into effect was if the Sharkopath was actually dumb enough to actually go right into them. And also, for another thing, the poison from these wouldn't really affect the Sharkopaths too bad either, thanks to the tiger shark immune system. Now, another small nitpick I have with this hybrid is the design itself, because from the design there were 7 gill slits. The Sharkopaths only have 5, which means the gills were already a big weakness on sharks, and adding more just makes them an even bigger weakness. So anyway, let's get down to the fight. Bruce is all by himself in the Pacific Ocean, where he starts to detect something. Another shark. It's very unusual to them since they're used to fighting pretty much every other creature except for sharks. Since sharks they usually end up leaving alone. But this shark is different. This shark was made is an invader. Something that is built to stop Bruce's rampage across the world's oceans. Bruce isn't actually used to this kind of challenge, but he's one that he's going to accept, because if you attack him, then he's not just going to let you live after that. So, both sharks end up knowing greatly where they are at all times. Oh yeah, that's another thing I want to point out, because this hybrid also includes goldfish to enhance the vision. But then again, having infrared vision isn't the most useful trait when electroreception already allows you to see in a full 360-degree radius. My hybrid uses dwarf lantern shark to not only for the bioluminescent patches, the defining feature of the sharkopaths, but to also enhance the eyes, giving them larger eyes comparable to their body, allowing them to see in darker waters. So my hybrid probably has better senses. In addition to that, my hybrid also has a surprisingly good sense of hearing from the Greenland shark. You wouldn't think hearing would be the most useful skill in aquatic combat, but sound travels better in water than it does on land. So anyway, back to the fight. Both of these hybrids know where they are, and they're both coming at each other for a head-on collision. They collide, and while Bruce is able to shake off the impact, the other Bruce is not so lucky, as his sensory organs leave him massively disoriented. He starts to turn around, trying desperately to find Bruce. But before he knows it, Bruce comes up from below, like with a vicious bite. And since Bruce is not very well armoured, the sharkopath crunches through him with ease, until this Bruce is no more. So yeah, this battle would be fairly quick. It basically boils down to whoever can get the first strike, since neither one of these hybrids are particularly well armoured. But in this case, being faster, smarter, more manoeuvrable, and overall deadlier, allows for my Bruce to take the win. Now that's not to say this video was completely donking on Utahraptorzilla's Bruce, because it is definitely a functional shark hybrid. It's just the inferior Bruce in the aquatic hybrid war. Well, as my Bruce will live on to pursue bigger targets. And you'll also await curiously to see if any other daring geneticists try to send more hybrids his way. Because, rest assured, he'll be ready for them.